Okay, today I'm going to go over how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide positive and negative fractions and mixed numbers. First of all, when you see an addition or subtraction problem, I want you to simplify any double signs that you may see and then use the scoreboard strategy. For example, if you see negative 3.5 plus or minus 2.5, what I want you to do is to simplify your double signs and then put them on a scoreboard. Okay? Now, if you're multiplying or dividing, I want you to use the spoon strategy. And by that, I mean if you're doing negative 3.5 times 4.5, let's say, you're going to multiply like normal, but this is a negative times a positive, so your answer is going to be negative. And then there's one other thing that I wanted to show you. There are 3 different ways that you're going to see negative fractions. The most common way is to see the negative in front of the fraction, but the negative sign might also be in the numerator or the denominator. So for example, you could see negative 1/3, but you also could see negative 1/3 or 1/-3. And all of these mean the same thing, it's just negative 1/3. Just like here, I did it with negative 7/15. All right, so let's get started. And sorry if you hear tapping in the background. Those are my dogs playing. Everything's fine. Okay, solve using the scoreboard strategy. Leave your answer in simplest form. So first I see that there's double signs here. And second, I see that there's not a common denominator yet. So a good common denominator would be 15. So I'm going to set this up so that the common denominator will be 15. And I'm going to rewrite this as 3/15 and 10/15. Then I'm going to focus on those double signs. There's a positive next to a negative, which means that's really just going to be a subtraction problem. And this is a positive. Now I'm going to make a scoreboard since they have common denominators. So I have 3/15 and negative 10/15. Which sign wins? Negatives. By how much? Negative 7/15. All right, next one. Now here, there's no double signs, but there isn't a common denominator yet. So I'm going to set this up with a common denominator. And this is going to be negative 5/45. And this will be minus 18/45. So now that there's no double signs, I brought this negative out in front. We have a common denominator. I'm going to make a scoreboard. Both of these are negative. When they're both negative, you add them together. So this is going to be 23/45. Negatives win. So the answer is negative 23/45. All right, with this next one, these are mixed numbers, and there's a negative, and they don't have common denominators yet. So what I'm going to do is make a common denominator of 18. So I'm going to multiply this by 2, multiply this by 2, multiply this by 3, multiply this by 3. So I have negative 1 and 3/18 plus 3 and 8/18. Now that they have a common denominator, there's no double signs, I'll make a scoreboard. So I have negative 1 and 3/18, positive 3 and 8/18. Which sign wins? Positives. By how much? Well, 3 and 8/18 minus 1 and 3/18 is 2 and 5/18. So positives win. By how much? By 2 and 5/18. All right, next one. These need a common denominator. A good common denominator here would be 12. So this is now going to be 2 and 3/12 minus 4 and 8/12. This would be a positive. This would be a negative. Now that they have a common denominator, I can put them on a scoreboard. I have positive 2 and 3/12, negative 4 and 8/12. Which sign wins? Negatives. By how much? Two and 5/12. So the answer is negatives win by 2 and 5/12. So the answer is negative 2 and 5/12. All All right, flipping the page. Now this one is problematic. There's a negative sign here that we're going to bring out in front. There's double signs, and they don't have a common denominator yet. So first I'm going to make them have a common denominator of 24. So multiply that by 8 and multiply these by 3. So then I have negative 16 over 24, and this is going to be 15 over 24. And you're going to notice that you have double signs here. And if you have a positive next to a negative, that's going to be a minus sign. So this is really negative 16 over 24 minus 15 over 24. I make a scoreboard. So negative 16 over 24 and negative 15 over 24. If they're on the same side of the negative symbol, you add them. And let's see, 31 over 24. So I have negative 31 over 24. But I can't leave it like that because that's called an improper fraction. This is really negative 1 and 7 over 24. All right, next one. We have two mixed numbers. There's no common denominator yet. So I'm going to make these have a common denominator of 12. So now I have 3 and 3/12 minus 7 and 10/12. Now that they have a common denominator and there's no double signs, I can make a scoreboard. Let's see, we have a positive 3 and 3/12, and we have a negative 7 and 10/12. Which sign wins? Negatives. By how much? 4 and 7/12. So the answer here would be negative 4 and 7/12. Okay, next one. This one's problematic because this negative symbol needs to come out in front. These two negatives need to be combined to make one sign, and we need a common denominator. So first I'll work on the common denominator of 24. So I have negative 3 over 24, and this is 5 over 24. Now I'm going to focus on these double signs. This is a negative and a negative, and we know that a negative next to a negative or a negative next to a subtraction sign will make just a plus sign. When I put these on a scoreboard, oops, sorry. We're going to see that positives win. By how much? By 2/24. So the answer is positive 2/24. But then you're going to notice that that's not in simplest form. So I'm going to have to divide the numerator and the denominator by a common factor of 2. And my answer is going to be positives win by a 12th. All right, next one. These ones are problematic because we have double signs and we have two mixed numbers that don't have the same denominator. So first I'm going to change the denominator. So let's see, we have negative 3 and 25/40, and we have 6 and 32/40. Now I'm going to look at this double sign. A positive and a negative makes a minus sign. All right, so I have negative 3 and 25/40 and negative 6 and 32/40. These are going to fall on the same side of my scoreboard. So I'm going to add them. All right, so the negatives win, and you're going to notice that this is not a proper answer because this is an improper fraction. So this bit is 9. This bit is 1 and 17/40. So total, this makes up 10 and 17/40 under the negative symbol. So the answer here will be negative 10 and 17/40. All right, I'm going to stop the video here and make another one for multiplication and division as soon as I figure out how to stop the video. Ready, set, stop the video. Stop it. How do I stop this? Make it stop. Make it stop. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, how do I stop it? Oh my God, please stop the video.